Hello, wonderful people. Are you feeling down because of this nihilistic world we live in? Hyper materialistic? Well, what has helped me when I'm down is the Course in Miracles. We're going to continue from chapter 4, the right teaching and right learning. All right, we're going to read. I'm going to give my commentary. All right, so first, let's start with hi, if you're new here, I'm Kahir. I'm here to take you one step closer to self love. Let's continue here. Number 1, right? A good teacher clarifies his own ideas and strengthens them by teaching them. Teacher and pupil are alike in the learning process. They are in the same order of learning. Unless they share their lessons, convictions will be lacking. A good teacher must believe in the ideas he teaches, but he must meet another condition. He must believe in the students to whom he offers the ideas. So, a lot of it, guys, is having faith in the other person. And what the Course teaches us is that, like, all the sparks of God are inside of us, even the people that we dislike. And, that could be a very, very challenging lesson. But what the Course teaches, like, what you give, you shall receive, right? So if we give vitriol, for whatever reason, and I know sometimes we justify it. I have my moments, of course. But the Course teaches that it's never justified. All attack is a call for love. All attack is a call for love, not some attack. Very cool. Many stand guard over their ideas because they want to protect their thought systems as they are, and learning means change. Change is always fearful to the separated because they cannot conceive of it as a move towards healing the separation. They always perceive it as a move towards further separation because the separation was their first experience of change. You believe that if you allow no change to enter into your ego, you will find peace. This profound confusion is possible only if you maintain that the same thought system can stand on two foundations. Nothing can reach spirit from the ego, and nothing can reach the ego from spirit. Spirit can neither strengthen the ego nor reduce the conflict within it. The ego is a contradiction. Yourself and Godself are in opposition. They are opposed in source, in direction, and in outcome. They are fundamentally irreconcilable because spirit cannot perceive and the ego cannot know. They are therefore not in communication and can never be in communication. Nevertheless, the ego can learn, even though its maker can be misguided. He cannot, however, make the totally lifeless out of the life given. This, like, yourself and Godself are in opposition, right? And this is what I'm also dealing with now, always, is realizing where the ego is popping up. Like, as you guys know, from my upbringing, or this emotional neglect, having CPTSD, emerged a very large shadow self. This ego, I had to, like, even like this morning, I had like all these attack thoughts still coming at me. But instead, I gave it time to listen. Be like, hey, what are you? Oh, you just want safety. You're scared, aren't you? Right? But because I have the awareness to understand that when I'm attacking myself, it's a call for love, right? But the ego is a death wish, the Course teaches us, all right? All it wants is destruction. It only wants temporary things that was temporarily satiated by, as if you've lived life experience, it's never going to truly fulfill us, But this world keeps telling us, it's a career, get the car, get the house, which there's nothing inherently wrong with those things. I'm not knocking on it. But I think, like I said, like all of us had some experience where we got something and then we were happy. And then like maybe for a few days and then, right? What does that mean? Right? That our happiness is never on the outside. It's always in the inner game, right? The inside. So the Holy Spirit, right? The eternal spirit need not to be taught, but the ego must be. Learning is ultimately perceived as frightening because it leads to the relinquishment, not the destruction of the ego, to the light of spirit. This is the change the ego must fear because it does not share my charity. My lesson was like yours. Because I learned it, I can teach it. I will never attack your ego, but I am trying to teach you how its thought system arose When I remind you of your true creation, your ego cannot but respond with fear. And this is what I'm practicing now, guys, is not the destruction of the ego, because the ego is how we experience physical reality, right? We need like a personality to understand, to play this game of life, right? So it's not destroying the ego. I also had moments like that where it's like, kill your ego, death to the ego. But it's not like it's not over identifying with the ego, and it's not trying to destroy the ego, but relinquish the power it has over us. And relinquishment is, we can be aware of the ego, of the attack thoughts, but we look at it as a call for love. We can talk to it, or soothe it, whatever permissions that works for you. But we don't give it power. We don't follow that guidance, right? But like my attack thoughts are like, why don't you get a real job, Jim? I say Jim, that's like one of our improv stuff that we always, the scene partner, if we don't come up with a name, is always like Jim or something. Inside joke. But those are just parroting the words of like my father, right? Which like he probably, I think, just wants me to be secure financially. I understand. Okay. Remember when I'm also working with like Dan, the happiness coach, it's like all these stress or anxiety that I'm feeling, these are just signals. So like, what is my body trying to tell me, right? And when I did talk to my attack thoughts, I uncovered or remembered, like I had this very dark image of myself, like this, this my parents would always say like, you're going to end up on the street. You're going to be homeless. You're going to be poor. Very just like fear-based motivation to get me to change, right? I tried that for many years, not very effective, So we could be aware of it. I'm like, oh, that's a funny picture. I didn't know you're a fortune teller, but like where you relinquish it, we don't give it power. All right, let's continue here. Teaching and learning are your greatest strengths now because they enable you to change your mind and help others to change theirs. Right? Purpose of the channel here. And why we're reading the course, right? Because it's all about mind training. Refusing to change your mind will not prove the separation has not occurred. The dreamer who doubts the reality of his dream while he is still dreaming is not really healing his split mind. You dream of a separated ego and believe in a world that rests upon it. This is very real to you. You cannot undo it by not changing your mind about it. If you are willing to renounce the role of guardian of your thought system and open it up to me, I will correct it very gently and lead you back to God. So opening our thought system to the Holy Spirit, right, for us to be gently corrected, right? All these attack thoughts, right? They need to be gently corrected by the Holy Spirit by saying, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. I must be perceiving wrongly if I'm looking at myself this way. Like with me, right? I just had a very fearful image of myself. It's not true. I could believe it's true and I could feel like shit about it. Or I could be like, Holy Spirit, let me perceive this differently. Let me see myself through the eyes of Source, the eyes of the Holy Spirit. What do I see? Right? I see a young man, and I'm trying his best, doing his best, right, on this journey. And to berate him will solve nothing, will help nobody, right? And that's the biggest missing piece for me. Like, I keep talking about my videos, but this self-beratement, right? I was whipping myself into shape, right? Why? Because I had this fear-based image of myself. If I don't whip myself, I'm gonna end up homeless. I'm gonna be this lazy piece of shit that no one's gonna love me. I'm gonna have no money in the bank account. I'm gonna be a fucking failure. Right? Fear-based motivation, and that can only go so far, guys. And when I dropped that story, that's when my physical body started transforming. Also, like, of course, the inner peace. Well, that's the most important. But it's just the physical body is a reflection of the mind, right? So when I dropped that fear-based narrative, everything got easier. Because I think we believe we need this fear-based narrative to be successful. And it's fucking bullshit. It's a bullshit. Right? You can subscribe to that fear-based story, but I'm just encouraging you, there is another way. There is another way. All right. Next. like I'm also like understanding it's a the process your emotions is to accept, right? Because a lot of I think why I did in the past was to reject how I was feeling in the moment, right? Like I shouldn't be feeling like this. Understanding what is the source, right? What is the source? Like I had to dig a little bit deeper to see like why am I attacking myself again? I used to be like, oh, I shouldn't be attacking myself. I should be spiritual. And I was like, no, no. What am I believing? What's this? What's and I saw that fear-based image again. I'm like, of course, right? That's all right. Okay, let us continue. Every good teacher hopes to give his students so much of his own learning that they will one day no longer need him. Yes. This is the one true goal of the teacher. It is impossible to convince the ego of this because it goes against all of its own laws. But remember that laws are set up to protect the continuity of the system in which the lawmaker believes. It is natural for the ego to try to protect itself once you have made it, but it is not natural for you to want to obey its laws unless you believe them. The ego cannot make this choice because of the nature of its origin. You can because of the nature of yours. And so every good teacher hopes to give his students so much of his own learning that they will one day no longer need him. And this is what I encourage everyone because like even like Dr. K or Healthy Gamer or me or whoever, like we don't want to listen to them forever because we want to be our own guide, right? Listen to our own guidance, which knows way you know yourself way better than I know you, right? Doesn't mean to like, of course, ignore teachers, but it's all about training your mind so much that you could like learn to trust yourself, trust your higher guidance. Okay, I'm when the ego like protects its own laws, like this whole like survival of the fittest stuff. Okay, I think it's very important to talk about this because like I see now where there's more and more separation now, like recently with this war in Iran and stuff. I just like I feel it's so like all we all pretty much want the same thing, right? We all want safety. We all want to have the best time on earth. We want to feel safe. We want to feel healthy. We want to feel fulfilled. All of us, right? So doesn't it make sense we all come together, work together to help each other out? Like I said, unity consciousness, but the ego believes in separation, right? Separating us, competing, contrasting. We don't have to believe in that anymore. In this new paradigm shift that we're all experiencing on some level. Think about like how communities were formed, right? Like usually, like there's like you were in your tribe, right? You just relied on your tribe. You had a tribe, you had a community, but like in this day and age, it's a rarity. But it's up to us, guys, to like make that happen, right? It's also with me and Mixed Nuts, my improv group. We try to do our best to make English improv scene in Warsaw, creating a community. People can meet, people can have laughter. That's beautiful stuff, and I want to expand it also here, creating a community for men and women, not just for men. It's like we can talk about our feelings, talk about what's going on, find peace in the Holy Spirit. Egos can clash in any situation, but spirit cannot clash at all. If you perceive a teacher as merely a larger ego, you'll be afraid, because to enlarge an ego would it be to increase anxiety about separation. This is like a larger ego, like you keep talking about like this red pill stuff, alpha males. I fell into that also when I was 25, maybe not like super deep, believe me, I'm not. But I got into this pickup artist thing, like real social dynamics, RSD. All these people be oh, I banged 100 girls. Oh man. Oh, it's funny now. But this is why I'm also making the channel because they're just right, being a larger ego. I have more money, I have more girls, therefore I'm better than you. Listen to what I have to say. I will teach with you and live with you if you will think with me. But my goal will always be to absolve you finally from the need for a teacher. This is the opposite of the ego-orientated teacher's goal. He is concerned with the effect of his ego on other egos, and therefore interprets their interactions as a means of ego preservation. I will not be able to devote myself to teaching if I believe this. And you will not be a devoted teacher as long as you believe it. I am constantly being perceived as a teacher either to be exalted or rejected, but I do not accept either perception for myself. Mm. I just want to add, like in my own, search for meaning, I did look for coaches, mentors, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. But it's about building your own strength. Understand? 'Cause I really don't like. This is why I love Healthy Gamer the most of all the modalities I tried, because they just ask good questions. It's never unsolicited advice, unless they ask, "Hey, can I give you my perspective, my advice?" Only for your agreement. I really reject. It's like, "Oh, I have all the answers. Listen to me." That's probably like the way I grew up. Like I'm older. I know all the answers. I know everything. I was like egos can clash. I always see it all over in many aspects of life, how egos can clash about pretty much anything. Anything like, even with improv, something I love and enjoy. Like if you we'll go into details later, like how big egos can get like with acting and stuff. Like, okay. Spirit cannot, right? Because I look at improv as a way of spreading joy, spreading love, and doing my best here to fulfill that mission. Your worth is not established by teaching or learning. Your worth is established by God. As long as you dispute this, everything you do will be fearful, particularly any situation that lends itself to the belief in superiority. This English first language. In superiority and inferiority. Teachers must be patient and repeat their lessons until they are learned. That's the thing. We've got to be patient. Keep repeating until it's second nature. I'm willing to do this because I have no right to set your learning limits for you. Again, nothing you do or think or wish or make is necessary to establish your worth. One more time. Nothing you do or think or wish or make is necessary to establish your worth. This point is not debatable except in delusions. Your ego is never at stake because God did not create it. Your spirit is never at stake because He did. Any confusion on this point is delusional, and no form of devotion is possible as long as this delusion lasts. Okay? I love how, particularly in any situation, leads to superiority and inferiority. That was like with money, right? How many of my brothers and sisters out there, I'm still dealing with that too. Of like, if someone's like a millionaire, a billionaire, or not, they have a house, so you don't, stuff like that. Oh, I'm so inferior. Oh, when we understand our worth is created by God, right? It can never be taken away from us, no matter what we do. Just like what Jesus is talking about. Like, oh, right? I understand. We're still like, moving towards just understanding this, but just like, it's like if you understand everything is in this temporal nature, right? Like something's coming in my head, like when Genghis Khan would attack, and someone would be like, "Hey, I'm a noble. I have lots of money. Don't attack me." And be like, "Nope." And like, yeah, and like take all his possessions away. And like, is he a noble? And well, for his whole life, he was a nobleman, but like it was taken away from him. You know what I mean? But our inherent worth, it can never be taken away. Never, ever, ever, ever. Right? But if you came up with a dynamic like I did, like, oh, based on your productivity, like how much money you're making, how are your relationships, you could be like, oh, I'm worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm worthy, I'm not worthy. And so the peace of God is, I am always worthy. Always. Can never be taken away. And we can forget. I for sure forget a lot. But like the purpose of this channel and all these videos is just reminding every day, hey, I'm as perfect as God created me. I'm as perfect as God created me. It's very easy to forget. That's why it's very important to make videos and like this to keep reminding, that we're worthy no matter what. The ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. You who made it cannot trust it, because in your right mind you realize it is not real. The only sane solution is not to try to change reality, which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. Like with the principle of improv, we say yes and to reality. You are part of reality, which stands unchanged beyond the reach of your ego, but within easy reach of spirit. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are his beloved Son in whom he is well pleased. Do not let your ego dispute this, because the ego cannot know what is as far beyond its reach as you are, right? In our right mind, we know that we are blessed sons of God. We know we are whole, we are wholly loving, wholly lovable. That's our truth with a capital T. And we says like, accepting reality is accepting this divine reality of who we truly are. I'll repeat one more time. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real and you are his beloved Son in whom he is well pleased. How comforting is that, guys? Oh man, this is why I love the Course. God is not the author of fear. You are. You have chosen to create unlike him and have therefore made fear for yourself. You are not at peace because you are not fulfilling your function. God gave you a very lofty function that you are not meeting. Your ego has chosen to be afraid instead of meeting it. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this because it is literally incredible. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase its believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable. The word inevitable is fearful to the ego, but joyous to the spirit. God is inevitable, and you cannot avoid him any more than he can avoid you, right? Because we are aspects of the Creator, right? There is no separation between us and all that is, right? Like you can look at the science too, like the quantum entanglement, all this, we're all connected, right? This is the truth of the capital T. You can't deny it, right? I mean, you can, but like facts are facts. You know what I mean? So thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. I hope Course in Miracles lighten up your day a little bit, right? May the Holy Spirit light your path wherever it takes you. Take care.